Here we are live on the internet.
You know, there's something about the Nets. I don't know what it is. It brings back the juice for me.
Oh, really?
I like Val. Val's, you know, she's seen me watch a lot of Sixers games through the years. You know, a lot of excitement when we beat the Lakers to end a 19-game losing streak and a lot of like disappointment, but sees me like pretty normal now. And tonight she was looking at me. I'm like, fucking right. I'm like, yeah, it brings back the juice a little bit, I think.
That's good, man. I'm happy to hear
It's
it.
nice, yeah.
You need the juice from time to
Good
time.
feeling.
Absolutely.
CJ, do you have the juice?
The juice is coming back.
Whoa. Where did it go?
Well, as soon as he found out how tall he was.
Yeah, I felt good. I felt good with this game.
What do you like
Good.
watching when you watch the game? What is that? What do you like?
What's tough, because I'm also setting this up beforehand, so like it's really, it only is impacted at like the most important part of the game where like I'm setting out the link. If it's a close game, it sucks because I need to like run back and forth between my living room and here to set it all up.
It's a long explanation.
The sacrifices we make
That's right.
for art, for this art.
CJ rolling his eyes at me.
I'll just be more concise.
No.
Hey, man, it's a podcast. You can be as long-winded as you want. I've been doing it for 10 years.
It's for sure true. Do you
keep
remember?
going.
Do you remember before we start when Angelo had you as a guest?
Oh, yeah, never had me back.
As a
He wanted to be like, just say that they suck, right? And I was like, well.
The thing with Angelo is like, even me who knows him, I told him once I couldn't be in the studio when I would talk to him, do spots. I had to be on the phone because when I would see him like just waiting for me to stop talking. And when Mike's calling. All right.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. That was
It was.
Remember when?
ago. It would have been like 2012.
No. We started
Yes.
the podcast in 13.
Spencer Hawes was still on the team at least. So 2012 or 2013.
13, yeah. Maybe 14 when he knew about it, maybe. Something like that. Right around there. Unbelievable. The Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast is, I'll start that again. The Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast is proudly presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Sign up for DraftKings Sportsbook by using promo code RTRS. Brought to you by LL Pavorsky Jewelers, where Rights to Ricky Sanchez listeners go and get engaged. Big Barker Therapeutic Dog Beds. Get yours at bigbarker.com/Ricky. And Stateside Urban Craft Vodka, home of the Surfside Iced Tea and Lemonade Vodka. Come on.
Oh, wait. I got my package today.
All right,
let me
go on.
Let me go get it while you do it.
The official sponsor of the Corner 3 newsletter was statesidevodka.com. On the show today, just as we all expected, especially me, James Harden coming through in the clutch, Tobias Harris coming through in the clutch. The Sixers win their 6th straight against the Nets. James Harden and M. Night Shyamalan make a little film together. Someone says that we're emitting loser energy with our MVP talk, perhaps the return of the jigsaw. CJ finally does his job. And the voicemails are all over me, and the Ricky Reddit is unhinged. And finally, we will get to the Ringer Top 100 rankings. We have a big announcement coming February 4th. February 4th, big announcement.
Announcing the announcement.
Announcing the announcement. Also, before we get going, if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe on YouTube and set up notifications. It helps us. It helps you. And I did mention Stateside Vodka, home of now. They have the Surfside iced tea and vodka, but now there's the Surfside peach tea and vodka, the iced tea and lemonade vodka, and then they have the lemonade and vodka.
That's what I have right now.
I saw Zoe got a care package. I was all pissed off. And later that night, like I got knocked on the door, 8:00 at night, ran to the front, saw 3 big boxes. The iced tea and lemonade and vodka is spectacular.
That's nice.
Only available right now on the website, along with the peach tea. I don't know if the lemonade the straight lemonade is available yet. All just awesome. Fucking perfect. Go to statesidevodka.com, but you got to be 21 to drink it. Without any further ado, Amos and the chef.
Larry, sweetie, the man is here.
Say the name. I say the name. I say the name.
We were right, y'all. We were right. Even when it went wrong, we were right. We was right, y'all. We were right. So say the name. Say the name. We were right, y'all. We were right. Even when it went wrong, we were right. We were right, y'all. We were right. So say the name. Say the name. Say the name.
Rights to Ricky Sanchez forever.
Welcome to the Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast. I'm Spike Eskin, along with a guy who always has the juice. That is one, Mike Levin.
I was not. You said you got juiced up by this game
Got
before we
fucking
started.
juiced up for this one. Harden's my boy.
And I was just, I'm happy to hear it. I just knew they were going to win this game. I was not concerned. I knew it was going to get close and they were going to make it look annoying, but I had a feeling they were going to win, and they did. And they're just a better team. Without Durant, they're just a better team. And, you know, Kyrie was incredible. Had some incredible shot making. Seth Curry, incredible shot making. But ultimately, without Durant, they're not good enough to beat this team.
I was not sure they were going to win. When they were up 15 in the second quarter, I did tweet that it would be within 2 with 6 minutes left. It was pretty close.
Automatic.
Pretty close. If you've been watching the Sixers for any amount of time, you knew, and the NBA this year, when it's just really, it's like a game of NFL blitz. And like whoever has the ball last is the team that's going to win.
They should allow as much contact as NFL blitz.
NFL blitz.
If only.
Yo, man, it's a good win. That's 6 straight. I don't know if we'll get to it in the voicemail or the emails, and I didn't hear it, but you made the 9 straight win proclamation at one point that you needed it. And I guess on his podcast, Bill Simmons, when he was questioning the Sixers, was talking before the road trip. And he was like, they need to rip off 7 in a row here. They need to rip off 7 in a row. And they're at 6 now. And that was whether the Nets had Durant or not. This was the first game home after a road trip when teams are typically flat. And Embiid we'll get to fucking all of it. We got a lot of stuff to get to. Embiid was juiced up, but not very good. And really, when it was teetering, you could say a lot of things about James Harden and Kyrie Irving. But one thing I would say in general is if it was like a mano-a-mano, get buckets in the fourth quarter down to the last second, I would typically take Kyrie Irving, like every time. And Kyrie Irving looked like he was on one, but your boy, James Harden, hit a couple of step backs when it was tied and they needed a couple of buckets. And he took one that I knew he was going to take that wasn't going to go in. Sure. And then when he got to the rim on that last one, like that was just it was a big play, man. It was a clutch play. Tobias, great defense on Seth Curry. And then a clutch bucket down on the other side. This is a good win, man. I think this is a good win.
It's a good win. Things are good. Like I like how juiced up you are. I'm disarmed by how juiced up you are.
Yeah, I fucking hate Ben. I fucking hate that dude. I love.
I've heard that. I've heard that on a podcast or two. I can't remember which podcast.
Keep saying I'm drunk. I'm not drunk. I'm tired. I just fucking hate that dude. I love beating him forever. I want to beat him forever. So
that. Got a lot to talk about. Plenty to talk about. Bunch of notes. But yeah, that Harden, the step backs are the step backs. He's going to make them or he's going to miss them. It just feels like if he's healthy and he looks bouncy, he's bouncing into him. He's looking good. He's shooting his best. I heard on the ESPN broadcast, he's shooting his best from threes in 10 years.
Oh, wow.
His best percentage from three up to 38 or 39%. That is surprising. It didn't feel that way, but he's feeling good. He's 5 of 10 tonight. That's nice. Mm-hmm. And yeah, the bigger play being driving by Royce O'Neal. Was a really good defender.
Yes.
To finish at the rim. Again, those step backs that he set up the ability to drive by Royce O'Neal, which we talked about in the past. And it was nice. I mean, Harden played a great game. I thought he was really played within himself. The only thing that was frustrating to me, I thought he played pretty good defense. Certainly not the problem on defense. He had a nice weak side rotation on a Nick Claxton roll that he fouled him on and forced free throws. That was nice. Obviously not a good foul shooter. And then a help on a Kyrie drive to come up with a steal, which was big. He just got to stop turning the ball over.
Yeah.
He turns the ball over a lot trying to get the ball to Joel, and kind of just like is lazy or like a little lollipop pass, thinking like, well, Joel's 18 feet tall, he's going to catch it. But he doesn't. Like, that ball gets knocked away all the time, and he's kind of like not feeling the weak side help at all. So he had 6 turnovers tonight. The rest of the team had 3 combined. That was kind of frustrating that he kind of gave it back a little bit. But just like bunch of big plays. And then in a game that, to your point, Embiid didn't have. He just like, look.
He's not good when he's all pissed off.
He just wanted it too bad.
Yep.
He's too bad he wanted it, because he's just like, I've talked about this before, and I don't know that I've ever like really, I'm like working towards the most like cohesive and poignant way to say it, but he's just such a human being, Joel Embiid, and we just know him so well. I feel like he's the most human star in the league. Like, I couldn't look at like I can just feel his emotions in a way that I can't feel most athletes' emotions. Like, I can really feel it. And you can tell watching this game with Ben on him when he got Simmons on a switch, he's like, I want to put this dude's underwear in the basket. Like, I'm dying to do it. And Dave Pasch on the call was like, the crowd was salivating. I was salivating. Embiid was drooling all over his jersey. Like, he wanted it so bad. And he just like, he wasn't settling for jumpers. He was getting his ass in the post, and he's dying to fucking put his ass in the basket. And 6 of 18, still was perfect from the line and stuff, and played all right. But not the Joel that we've seen this season when he was just ruthlessly effective. This time he was his emotions got the better of him a couple times.
The entire game.
Yeah,
the entire game. But I fucking love it, man. I love it. I love that it meant so much to him. I love that he fucking hates Ben too. Yeah. Like, I thought it was great. But to your point, we've been seeing all year long was just like relentless 14 to 16 foot jumpers, just jumper after jumper. I don't think we saw one of them the entire night.
Almost none. I think maybe one. But yeah, he did take a couple threes, but like, he was just going at the basket. He's like, I'm trying to dunk. It was a funny Embiid game. It was an interesting. I mean, like the finish into the 3 crotch chops to the fans. That was great. Mm-hmm. It's always funny when national broadcasts have to deal with that.
We don't know what that means.
Yeah. I think we have an idea, Dave.
Yeah.
It is one of the most.
He was pointing to his dick. Like, even if you haven't ever seen that before, you'd be like, "Wow,
how can you never seen that? Come on, this isn't
even if you hadn't,
a new reference."
He's like, look at my dick, look at my dick. Like, at the very least, that's what it is,
Yeah. It was the most amount of people that have ever sucked it at once. It is, yeah. I mean, just come on, dude. Like, Dave Pasch, like, his bit is being like, I'm a massive, like, robot dork. Just say it's a suck it. Like, ESPN is not going to be upset. Everyone's
You're allowed to
too
say
nervous.
suck it.
You're allowed to say suck it. And you're allowed to suck it as well.
Mm-hmm.
And as the
Anyone's
crowd
allowed
did
to
to
suck
Joel at the end. But it was like, yeah, Joel... What do I want to talk about? The jumpers we talked about didn't get as much pick and roll with Harden because the Nets just kept switching everything, and then they went to zone, and so there wasn't the opportunity to do it. And we'll talk about the zone later. Yeah. But it just felt like it wasn't as many like easy buckets for him. It was a lot of like back to trying to isolate, trying to like post up while a bunch of guys are about to double down, all that stuff. And he missed the layup when he should have dunked it. And I need that to be a dunk. I need all of those to be dunks. I'm going to keep calling it out. I think I need Tobias to tell him that those need to be dunks, and they just need to be more consistently dunks because dunks go in, and sometimes layups you biff it. So I'm going to dunk that. But the play at the end, Embiid making plays at the end on the defensive end is, I think, my favorite part of stuff. Offensive stuff, things go in, they don't go in, shots rim out, whatever. But like when you can break up a play, when Embiid breaks up a play on the defensive end, that's my favorite way to end a game. And he broke up that lob that sealed the deal. It was great. And I just also want to say that Kyrie placing his palm on Embiid's forehead and then immediately getting called for a foul was very funny. It was very, very funny. I enjoyed it.
You mentioned the net switching. Actually, before we talk about that, I think we might as well. Vegas Mike. Now, Vegas might.
I came pretty close to that Eagle score.
You did. What'd you say, 31-14?
I said 31-13.
31-13. I was obviously not very close, as I said Giants 23-21. But the bid is not Vegas Spike. It is Vegas Mike.
True enough.
Mike, here we are. By the way, DraftKings Sportsbook brings you Vegas Mike. We're down to the final 4 teams of the NFL. Of course, the Chiefs and the Bengals. With Mahomes versus Joe Cool over there. But then the game that you and me and all of Philadelphia more interested in, the NFC Championship game, the Niners and the Eagles. Mm-hmm. Eagles are -2.5. Mike, what is the Vegas Mike pick? We will obviously be on again, so you can change it because I think we're on Saturday, right? Yeah. So, but right now, Eagles -2.5. What is the Vegas Mike pick at DraftKings Sportsbook?
I'm also letting the emotion get the best of me here.
Okay.
Like Joel. Mm-hmm. Like I have a kinship with Joel. There's something about rookie quarterbacks like short point guards in the NBA where I just want somebody to fucking level them. And so I've just been texting a bunch of people that I want Brock Purdy's ribs on my dining room table. Like I want it protruding through his shirt. I'm getting violent here, and I want it bad. I want Hassan Reddick in Brock Purdy's mouth. Like it's got to get him all over there. I want him laying down.
I want to clip that,
anyway,
CJ.
That's fine. It's football.
Yeah.
I feel like they're just gonna win, and I'm scared of that also.
You're gonna cover?
Niners are a good team. I think so. I think give me like 26-16.
Niners are a good team. Would not trust a rookie quarterback on the road in the NFC Championship.
Not in the NFC Championship. Not in Philly.
Yeah,
he's good. I mean, he's done well, and it's time for his ribs to come off.
Yes. The DraftKings, we did a same game parlay for today's Sixers game. It did not work out. Sixers got the win. DraftKings, if you are a new customer, bet $5, win $200 in free bets instantly. That's what you do by betting on the NBA over there at DraftKings Sportsbook and using promo code RTRS. And for a limited time, all new and existing customers get a no-sweat same-game parlay every day. Go DraftKings Sportsbook app now, opt in, place a same-game parlay on an NBA game. If it doesn't hit, you get a free bet back. Download the app now. Sign up with code RTRS. New customers bet $5 on the NBA, get $200 in free bets instantly. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the NBA, with code RTRS. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. Void in Ohio. See show notes for details. Okay, back to the Sixers. Now, I was going to say, you were talking about the lack of pick and roll and the Nets basically switching everything. Mm-hmm. And I did have a bit of a nightmare today. Now, the Sixers scored 140 points. So what am I talking about really? Mm-hmm. But as I'm watching them, basically the Harden Embiid pick and roll basically disappear, right? Yeah. And then they go zone, and the Sixers, as they always do, are like they look to the side. They're like, what's this? I haven't seen this before. Yeah. What do we do here? And I just had this nightmare about going up against...
The whole team became the Nick Young question mark meme.
Right. I had this nightmare about the playoffs and teams that can switch and are good at defense and trying, and we're just left with like step backs and sloppy post-ups and Tobias 17-footers. And I got a little scared.
Tobias shooting 80% on those 17-footers.
Yeah. So what am I to think about this?
I think realistic, like it's a concern. Like that's something that I think this is ultimately, this kind of game is helpful for them to go through. You know, it's weird. They just like slow down so much. And I guess maybe Doc yelling pace over and over again isn't quite getting through. Mm-hmm. But they just like slow down so much, and everyone's like holding the ball, like just begging for a passing lane to show up. Earlier in the game when they went to zone, they sort of exploited him in that middle. Like Tobias would get to the middle and hit a jumper kind of thing. But it just seemed like towards the end, for most of the fourth quarter, they were just standing 30 feet from the basket, waiting for something to happen and not moving, not screening for each other, nothing. And I think also, like, not only did the pick and roll leave them this game, but George Niang didn't do anything offensively. He didn't score. He only took 1 3 in 17 minutes, which is kind of bizarre.
You know, we got
and it felt like the stuff that they normally get, they weren't getting. And despite that, they still shot 51, 47, 97 from on shooting. So it's still, I mean, they scored 137 points, but to do that without any of the like bread and butter stuff felt a little weird.
We got an email from Rob who said, watching the Sixers Nets games and wanted to point something out, the Maxey led bench minutes. Look at him and Yang in the second quarter, especially George's body language. Lots of throwing up his arms when Maxey shoots and miscommunication on defensive pick and roll defense. Wondering if you think a downside to moving Maxey to the bench is that he starts to be a scorer only guy. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Maxey was great tonight.
Hit some big buckets.
Hit some really big shots, 6 of 9 from deep, 27 points on 14 shots. I thought it was really good to see him like regaining that form. And even though he's clearly a top 5, maybe top 3 player on this team, it's just nice to see him have a little bit more freedom with the second unit. I think they could do that and also start him, but whatever. It's nice to see him have the ability to be catch and shoot guy and then have the ability to be more scoring focused. And I also think like his passing has taken a step forward. I think he's seeing more passing lanes than he had before. I like the transition pass to Melton for a dunk. I like those easy buckets. Too often our guys in transition are going like up against somebody when there's an easy like layoff for a dunk available. But I thought Maxey, that's less of a concern for me. I do wish that he would not take so many tough shots sometimes, but he can make them. Like he's really very good, and he was hot tonight. The defense is confusing because, you know, people that track these things will talk about like how he really dives on a lot of screens and his recovery time on them is not good, even though he's fast and he's obviously not long. But the thing that is most confusing to me is it seems like there's like frequent miscommunications, and that's the stuff that I see with him and Niang. That's the play that he's referencing when they both left. They both went to, I think it was TJ Warren, allowing Seth Curry to just have it walk into an open three. And I don't know what that is. I don't know if it's not enough talking. I don't know if it's like some level of confusion. It shouldn't happen as much as it does. But that's not really a difference between starter or not starter. That's just like, there's got to be a set, you know, that's just reps, I guess, of playing with guys and getting a feel for it.
Now, this is usually your lane. And trust me, I don't want to get in your lane. But as I mentioned before, the start of this is not your lane. As I mentioned before, I love to beat Ben Simmons. Fucking guy. Ruined a whole fucking season. So he starts off hot in the third quarter.
Yeah. Looks real different.
Precisely going at Montrezl Harrell.
Interesting.
Like, it was embarrassing. And actually, the end of the second quarter, all Montrezl Harrell needed to do, as Ben Simmons was running straight toward the basket and didn't have time to do anything else, is to stand there and take a fucking charge, and he didn't do it, and Simmons ended up with the and one, blah, 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 blah.
Or just keep moving his feet.
Like,
slapping down.
The funniest moment was Simmons goes to score 6 points, whatever the fuck it is. All on Harrell, just looking at him like he's like it's a cartoon, where he looks at somebody and sees a big turkey leg instead of a person.
That's right. That's what the whole league does. He's a big turkey leg.
They take Harrell out. They don't put in Embiid, and they don't put in B-ball Paul. Nope. They don't put in PJ Tucker.
Nope.
They just leave George Niang out there, who effectively ended Ben Simmons' night on one possession simply by not being fucking terrible.
Yeah.
On
just
defense.
Absolutely stones him in the post. Yeah, I mean, in the first half, Ben wasn't going at Trez.
No.
And there was a couple times where he drove in and then just like looked around to pass it out to somebody, which is 90% of what he does at this point. And I was like, oh man, that's how you know. Like if he's not going at Montrezl Harrell, when everybody else in the league can score on Montrezl Harrell, who looks like a turkey leg, I think it's a great analogy. And then in the second half, somebody said something to Ben, and he's like, all right, I'm going to go for it. And him going for it is really just like, I'm going to drive at somebody and see if like a hook shot goes in at this point. But yeah, I mean, I think that this, I was actually a little happy to see it because I think this is the thing to convert the like few Montrez fans of like, actually he's good.
Ben Simmons.
Is Ben Simmons like scoring on him at will?
Ben Simmons, who doesn't score at all. He's averaging like 4 fucking points a game.
Yeah.
He's scared of shooting.
And so easily going right at Trez.
Yeah.
To be like, oh, this guy's not even around. This guy's not even there. It's really impressive how bad he is at defense. One of the worst defenders in the league, if not the worst. And then Doc took him out for small ball, and then stones him and then drew a tee. That was George's best play of the game. I'm glad we got a little bit of that, but obviously he was not a factor offensively. I mean it was fun for I was on doubles watch with Ben. I was like, if they fucking double this guy at any point, I'm gonna lose my goddamn mind, because if anybody knows, I said it when they played the Hawks.
Yep.
The Hawks should know, but the Sixers really should know, and they didn't do it, and I was happy about that. But it was funny when he missed the baby hook with Joel on him. That was good. It's a fun environment. I think some of the nicknames that like crowd shirts give him are bad and embarrassing, but that's what you get in the grab bag of fan culture.
Yeah, come on, man. Yeah, this was I thought, of all the crowds for the Ben returns, of course the first one he didn't play, and this was like the best crowd, I thought. Like, probably because Embiid was in there and the game actually meant something, and
were there Nets fans early in the game?
There were, and they were chanting Ben Simmons, and then the Sixers fans were chanting sucks.
Right? Yeah. Did they leave during the game and not come back? Or like, honestly, like, I feel like I'm a conspiracy theorist and thinking like those fans were paid. Like there was a caravan of Nets fans paid to come down and chant for Ben Simmons. Like, give me a break. No way those guys are real. No way.
I've only met 2 Nets fans. I work with both of them. Hi, Keith. Hi, Evan. It's Sean. I work with 3 Nets fans. So I don't know. I guess they're there. The original ones are from New Jersey, not even from Brooklyn. I don't know.
I'm not saying that there's not Nets fans. I'm just saying like the idea that Nets fans would take en masse come to Philadelphia without Kevin Durant and
they probably
like make their presence felt with chants. Like it just felt very like coordinated in a way, like the way that like M&M's is so clearly like gearing up for like a Super Bowl spot. Like it feels like something is about like, what was that?
Do you think it was the Revolutionaries just in a different outfit?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Honestly, yes, I do. I think that's exactly what it was.
The other thing is that like this was a good DeAnthony Melton game, man. He had a couple of great rebounds, played good defense, hit big shots in the first half of the game.
Yep.
This was exactly what he does, and they don't win the game without him. They don't win this game without him.
No, I mean, he made a few plays defensively. He couldn't really do anything with Kyrie. And so that was I want him to be a little bit more of a lockdown island guy. I want a little bit more like physicality that he can do without like getting called for fouls. He doesn't quite give you that as much as I want against like those kinds of elite scorers the way Kyrie is. But yeah, I mean, just a good presence on the court at all times. And when he's hitting shots from the outside, he's 3 of 6 from deep tonight. When he's hitting shots, like it really adds an element to the starting unit of like as a threat. Because PJ is obviously the least impactful offensive player in NBA history at this point. And Tobias is, we can talk about Tobias in a second, but like Melton is now like the quickest catch and shoot guy in the starting lineup. And so it's nice when he's hitting those, it's really nice. And he's hit something off the dribble. Like he's just great. I just love him. I think he's great.
Speaking of Tobias, it seems like, see if you agree with this one.
Here we go.
First part of the season, Tobias is fully what we want, right?
Yeah.
Quick trigger, going hard at the rim. He comes on the podcast and we're like, great job, Tobias. And he's like, actually, I can do the other shit. And for like 10 games, he's old Tobias. But now it seems as if, and he hit his knee, whatever, it seems as if he has melded old Tobias and new Tobias into one Tobias that does the right thing when we need it. Has the quick trigger 3 when we need it, has that little 16, 17 footer when we need it. Feels like he's in a good rhythm right now, Tobias.
Kind of. Yeah, I think the main thing is that he's hitting those long twos.
Yes.
And so it makes it feel better than if he wasn't.
That's a good point.
But yeah, I thought even though he only took 2 threes, 1 of 2 from deep, still not enough catch and shoot. I need more of it. But no dunks, which was frustrating. I thought he was going to go up for one time, and I knew it. Like my face was flashing through his head, but he decided to lay it up instead and missed. But I thought that he was decisive, going to the rim, taking foul line jumpers in the zone. At least if he's going to do that, then do that. And it didn't seem like there was many record scratch Tobias moments, aside from when the whole team was record scratching against the zone. And another big fucking stop on Seth Curry, like you mentioned. Like Seth was on fire in that moment, and Tobias locked him up and forced an air ball. Like he's just a good player. He's a good, helpful player that I'm glad is here. And anytime any trade piece mentions like what can they get for Tobias this season, I'm like, they cannot trade Tobias Harris this season. They absolutely can't. There exists no trade that is realistic where a Tobias trade comes out and the Sixers are a better team because of it. It just doesn't happen this season.
LL Pavorsky Jewelers, the first sponsor of the Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast. I don't remember how many years ago. 5, 6?
No, more than that.
Really? That he sponsored us?
Well, he was donating to charities.
Oh, before,
I would say
right.
6 or 7 years ago. 7 maybe.
Years, yeah. We're at 310 or something. Rights to Ricky Sanchez listeners have purchased engagement rings from LL Pavorsky Jewelers. Was showing somebody at work the other day the wedding with Pablo Torre, which of course he provided the rings for, has been involved in all of our nonsense, is going on Fly the Process. He's a great jeweler, a great guy, and one of us, a member of the podcast, going to Fly the Process with us to San Antonio. Hey, Pop, you might want to get yourself thrown out so Brett can coach. You can come sit with us. Anyway, every person we've heard from who's purchased a ring from Lee has been like over the moon about it. Over the moon. This is a big purchase. When you go make a purchase like engagement ring, you need a guy, right? You want to go, hey, you got a guy for that? We got a guy. LL Pavorsky Jewelers been there more than 3 decades. And then once you got a guy for your engagement ring, you got your jeweler for life. He is your jeweler for life. You need an engagement ring, it's Lee. You need a Valentine's Day gift, it's Lee. Birthday present, whatever. He's your guy. Now, here's what's important. He wants to spend time with you when you buy the ring. Focus only on you. So appointment only. 215-627-2252. 215-627-2252 is the number. You can email him, lee@llpavorsky.com. You can tweet at him at @llpavorsky. If you're walking through Philadelphia, the store is right there at 707 Walnut. Take a selfie in front of it. As Mike mentioned.
Take a selfie inside of it.
Inside of it. As Mike mentioned, he supports our charities right now, Providence Animal Center and Mama T's Community Fridge. LL Pavorsky Jewelers.
He is watching live. He has texted me during this podcast, and that's what you want your jeweler to be doing.
I can't wait to see him in Texas. I love that he goes on these trips.
I hope he wears a big hat, a big cowboy hat.
Should I get him to wear a 10-gallon hat? Take him.
I think he will do it without us asking.
Yeah, Lee. If the first time I see you on this fucking trip, you're not wearing a fucking hat. If that has only 6 gallon or 8 gallon, that's not gonna be enough. I need it to be 10. 10-gallon hat, motherfucker. Anything else from this one?
Oh, so much.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So much. Come on. Let's
so
talk about Matisse.
Good stuff.
Let's talk about Matisse.
I can't stand him.
I know you can't.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I know you can't do it.
Yeah.
There's nothing that he could do at this point that's going to win you over.
I don't think so.
And I understand that, and I empathize with that, and that's where I'm at with Trez. Like, there's simply nothing that he could do. Trez has been playing better, like offensively in some moments lately, but there's just nothing that he could do that would at any point convince me that he is a helpful player to this team going forward, and especially in the playoffs. So I empathize with that. I do think that there are things that Matisse can do that are helpful to this team. Hit 2 threes, like obviously they didn't cover him at all. And like he has to make them pay for that. And so him hitting 2 threes was big. And the bigger thing than that was that he caught a lob. And Maxey threw it. Like I mentioned the passing earlier. Like those sneaking behind the defense for lobs, like that's got to be it. There's no one else on this team that catches lobs. Matisse has to be that guy. He has to. And I thought that was really nice. Of course, he reaches too much, he fouled too much. Like there's sometimes where he just doesn't have to try to block somebody from behind and hit him in the back of the head. Like he doesn't have to do it. But there were a bunch of really nice deflections. He saved the one that Joel got. I think it was Joel got blocked or missed a shot, and then Matisse like saved it with a deflection and stole it on the other end. That's huge. So it was a good and bad Matisse night. But as far as offense goes, definitely a good one on the Matisse scale.
You said there's a lot more other than that. We talked about every player.
No, we didn't talk about PJ.
Oh yeah. Well, what are you gonna say?
He didn't play in the second half. He played 3 minutes in the second half.
It's happened a few times. It's happened a few times. Yeah.
But like,
bro, you want him not to play, then he doesn't play.
I want him to rest. I don't want him to play 18 like uneven minutes and then just sit because he can't contribute offensively. He did lead the team in plus minus inexplicably today.
We got this is a good time actually. We got a call about PJ. 833 Lickface is where you call to leave a message about PJ or anything.
Weekly Becky here. Quick side note. No one other than my sister-in-law when she was 7 and Spike have referred to me as Becky, and I'm embracing it. So my question is about the backup center. I'm listening to you guys debate who would be better to have.
Oh, she DM'd me about this.
Into the playoffs between Trez and Andre Drummond, and I found myself getting very angry and shouting, it doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't matter. It does not matter which of those are on the team, because the only chance of our team doing anything in the playoffs is if we embrace the coaching staff, whatever, embraces PJ Tucker as backup center, like for real, he is taking up those minutes. It is a formula that has worked to get a championship. It's what has to happen. And then I was like, oh my God, I guess I radically agree with Spike here in like believing in PJ Tucker. He can play that role, and what he's doing, we should not be caring that he's not shooting, the corner 3, or like he doesn't need to fucking take a floater in the regular season. He doesn't need to work on his shooting form or like his offensive dimensionality. Like he's playing all those minutes. It's a good thing because he's staying conditioned. He's like keeping his conditioning up, and he's going to know exactly what to do when he gets into that role in the playoffs. So I have this hot take that we need to fucking unite around the dude that we tampered for.
That was the only voicemail that wasn't just fucking obliterating me this week. so I played it first. But
yeah, look, I PJ Tucker for the last 10 years I have loved.
Mm-hmm.
But if you just go to his basketball reference and see how much less he is doing. Like
that's not true.
It is true. His usage rate is at 6%.
I posted,
last year's usage rate was at 11 or 12%. His usage rate right now is at 6%.
But last year was an anomaly. When you look at his stats, honestly, his stats this year per 36 are exactly the same as when he was in Milwaukee and they won a title. Exactly the same. Last year he scored like 9 points a game, but he never scores 9 points a game. So in his year in Milwaukee that season, 5 points a game, 5 rebounds, 33% from 3. He's 39% this year. Shot 37% from the field. He's shooting 46%, I think, from the right corner this year. 46 from the right corner, 36 from the left corner. They win when he's in there. And Becky's right. He's just staying in shape in these minutes. And he's going to
take a month off and get back in shape in March.
He's going to play center.
Absolutely take a month off.
Shout out Becky.
He's not going to be contributing in the All-Star game or All-Star weekend or any All-Star festivities because he takes one shot a game and avoids everything else. He's the most, look, that Milwaukee regular season, he played 20 games. He was a pickup at
but those were the whole
mark.
Season stats. Those were the whole season stats. Those were the stats for his entire season.
Okay,
year.
so when he was with Houston also.
But both, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Look, I have loved PJ Tucker many times. He just needs to not. He is avoiding the ball. He is running around aimlessly offensively. He had a nice back cut in this game. They find him on the back cut, and he blows a layup because he's 75 years old and he can't dunk. Like it's just like the fact that he can't dunk and is an unwilling shooter, and is just so unathletic at this point. It just kills me. And he hasn't been good enough defensively to merit how invisible he is offensively. And maybe he does in the playoffs. And I would love before the season started, I wanted it to be backup 5 PJ Tucker, and maybe with more shooting options on the court, his lack of shooting or lack of willing shooting will hurt less if he's playing the 5. But like, he hasn't been good enough at that either. Like, he just hasn't been good enough at anything. And maybe it turns around in the playoffs, but like, it hasn't been good enough. And I find it very hard to trust him in any major role in the playoffs.
I would posit, I trust him, Team Tucker. I would posit that even though we both, I think, watched a lot of PJ Tucker over the years, that this is maybe one case that we've had a lot over the years where you see a guy every game and the experience is different than seeing him,
of course,
6 times a year.
But it is also the lowest usage rate of his career.
That's okay. But he's probably playing with, as far as starting lineup, he's probably playing with the most like talented offensive starting lineup he's ever played in his entire career. In terms of when he was playing with Harden in Houston, it was Harden and Paul, and then a bunch of guys who catch and shoot. Like, that's all it was. But that's not what this is here. That's not what this is. Like, this is he should have the lowest usage rate of his career. Team Tucker.
It's very bleak. It's a bleak situation.
I don't think so.
It's an upsetting thing. Him missing layups and him trying his floater. It's devastating. He took 4 free throws today in the first quarter. It was like the Nets were just doing him a favor. That was like charity. They should be able to write off those free throws are tax deductible for the Nets. It was a very generous gift.
Can we watch this Harden M. Night Shyamalan video?
Really quickly. Okay. I love Nick Claxton, man.
Oh, he's awesome.
He's so good. I've loved him for so long. He's
so
awesome.
Good. Yep.
He's way better than Ben. He's at this point, he's such a great defensive player. Like, they hit a couple weirdly of like 3 step backs in his face. Maxey hit a couple step backs in his face, which was wild. Harden hit a few. He can do everything on the defensive end. He can switch 1 through 5. He moves his feet. He protects the rim. He can rebound. Like, he's just awesome. And as an offensive player, like, obviously he can't shoot and his free throw is disgusting, but like,
he's still better than he was a couple years ago offensively. You know, like he at least knows where to be, and he had that hook shot thing, and like,
and it's unfair that he has to play with Ben at any point, because if you just allow him to be a rim running center, he can beat guys off the dribble. Like, he's just a really, really good player. Embiid did call him a pussy ass when they got double teed. I saw that, so maybe Embiid disagrees, but I don't think he's a pussy ass. I think he's a really good basketball player. And Derek helpfully reminded us that Nick Claxton was taken with the Trevor Booker draft pick.
A trade that you defended.
Look, I was trying to survive out there, man.
That's so
I was trying to fucking survive. Do you think in me, in my right mind, would ever want a journeyman backup for a draft pick that I love? I love the draft pick. I was just trying to exist.
I was just throwing it out there. I agree with you. I'm actually sorry for bringing it up. I agree. I love Nick Claxton. I thought he has gotten like so good. And honestly, here's a message, and then we'll move on to this Harden M. Night Shyamalan video. Ben Simmons, you should retire so Nick Claxton doesn't have to play with you. Just retire, or say you have an injury the rest of the year, because you are, honestly, the Nets, if they could not play Ben Simmons for 28 minutes a game and Nick Claxton could just be who he is, maybe they're a title threat. You should retire. You should move on so Nick Claxton can have his own team. So this thing popped up over a couple days ago, video. It is a 30-second video, and we've been getting, now this isn't Coach Mike, I guess it's Hollywood Mike or whatever, who has to talk about the acting stylings of M. Night Shyamalan, James Harden, but most specifically the uncredited actor surprise at the end.
I haven't seen it.
You haven't seen it?
No, I haven't seen it. I saw it like cross my timeline, a bunch of people looking at it, sending it to me, and I just was like, I don't want to. And there's no part of me that wanted to watch it. And so now we're here, and I'm going to watch it.
Yep. Here we go.
Wine.
To Philly.
Wine.
Just some R&R.
I get it. Season's a grind. It's like making movies. Sometimes you just got to step back.
Pretty good place to fade away.
That little smirk they gave.
I wouldn't answer that if I were you.
James, want to see a horror movie? I'll show you one in practice.
Knock at the cabin.
I must have missed the Evite.
Rated R.
What? What did that? I thought it like built to something. It was nothing.
No, it's just the dog didn't get the e-bite.
I'm a little surprised that M. Night Shyamalan is the worst actor of the three of them.
He not even close. And one thing I got to give Doc credit on, CJ, I don't know if you can show it, but when Doc sits down, he gives the firm hand on the thigh to both Harden and M. Night.
That's knee. That's knee. That's not thigh.
Oh, it's knee. Okay.
But he was pretty good. Doc was pretty good.
Okay.
I thought
Harden
James as he's leaning back and doing the fadeaway.
Yep.
A little smirk. I liked it.
Yep.
He seemed to enjoy himself doing that, which was
James. Yeah.
I wouldn't have expected. But look, you sit courtside, you build a relationship with you guys. Good for them. Good for M. Night.
No, we do have some emails, a couple of voicemails just obliterating me. I would like to note that we've talked about it before. There is a Rights to Ricky Sanchez Reddit that we did not create. And, you know, it's not that busy, but over the last week, it has become much more busy. I'm going to read some of the subject lines of what's going on in Ricky Reddit.
Oh, God.
Would Spike and Mike ever hang out? How much longer do we have? Any episodes with a good Spike and Mike fight in it?
People want it. People are craving the fight.
Favorite part of the podcast, callers who don't know CJ's name. Everything I know about Philadelphia, I have learned from this podcast.
That's dangerous.
Yeah. So, and by the way, the two that had the most comments, I believe, were any episodes with a good Spike and Mike fight in it, and would Spike and Mike ever hang out? So, So what do you think about this? I mean,
we've been thinking that the Sixers are the main characters, but we're
the main characters.
Turns out.
Yeah.
It turns out.
Yeah. So I give credit to everyone. This is going to have to be a Reddit that I don't go back to, actually, because it's too close. There's too much in there.
Yeah.
And also, CJ actually found time on Spotify. There's a question under the podcast you can see there to put in the Spotify question of the podcast.
What's CJ's face doing right now?
He's grinning.
Okay, grinning.
He's
Good.
laughing.
Good.
Yeah. I
have a CJ in my mind. You can see CJ on the video. I can't, so I just have CJ in my mind all the time.
The Spotify question of the pod: what is your favorite segment of the pod? Jeremy says, using this Q&A to suggest that the Hard to Stomach YouTube comment of the week become a sponsored segment sponsored by Body Bio Gut Plus.
Yeah, a lot of people have been saying that. Yeah, that's on the Body Bio people.
Yep.
Who, by the way, texted me during the game.
Oh, really?
Sponsors, just ready. Kasabi reached out to me the other day.
Wow.
People are going crazy. Sponsors, just hitting me up.
We got a bunch of Coach Mike votes, Vegas Mike, relationship advice. We got whatever happened to the jigsaw. I used to love that each week, laughing uncontrollably on my way to work. It actually became hard for me to think of them, but I could bring it back once every couple of weeks. The LL Pavorsky.
We did the 100 jigsaws. The off season was
a lot of jigsaws.
Yeah.
The LL Pavorsky advertisements. Listening to this podcast is the only time I genuinely enjoy hearing advertisements. When I elope one day, I'll hit up my man LL and order online.
Got to do it.
And finally, PJ says, when CJ got yelled at for not doing his job. And then the YouTube comment of the week, producer spot opening up.
Interesting. What's his face doing now?
He's laughing again. He's having a great time. Great time.
Good.
Before we get to the voicemails and emails.
Really quickly, I'm not going to harp on it, but the technical fouls in this game
it was out of control.
My mind. Just so fucking stupid. Harden tossed the ball against the stanchion, and the guy's like, technically, you're not allowed to do that. And then Trez gets teed up. It's just loser shit, like such massive loser shit. Who are they doing it for? Adam Silver is at the game, watching this, and I wish that we had a camera on him. He had to be nodding every time, and if he wasn't nodding every single time a technical foul was called, then a microphone should come into his face right away and be like, "Are you sure? You could stop this. You could stop this from happening." It's so fucking stupid. More no calls, more no technical fouls, and more no calls generally. Let them play. Jesus Christ. The length of the game doesn't bother me. I watch baseball. Length of the game, I don't mind. It doesn't bother me. But just what you're affecting. These are points that you're giving to the other team for nothing. Losers. They're such fucking losers. I hate refs. God.
Before we get to the voicemails and the emails, Big Barker dog beds, Big Barker therapeutic dog beds. We had a couple of workers in the house today working on a closet, and my wife had to get some medicine things, so we had to put Rebel in the guest room.
Such a general term.
Well, it was closets. Like the closets we got here weren't finished.
Closet people.
A couple of Russian guys outside smoking, and then inside. But we had to put Rebel in the guest room because he barks, and every time they made a noise, he would bark. But we do have a Big Barker in there, and after a while, he stopped barking. I walked in, he was just sitting on the Big Barker. BigBarker.com/Ricky. BigBarker.com/Ricky. If your dog has a dog bed, it's probably a piece of shit. I mean, it might look nice, right? Oh, look, it looks fluffy. Beds are not fluffy. Pillows are fluffy. You lay your head on a pillow, that's fine. You don't sleep on a pillow. You need a supportive mattress.
I've never visualized it.
Yeah.
As you said that before, but I've really never visualized what it's like. And that's true. A bed isn't fluffy. A pillow is fluffy.
Yes. So you want to get your dog a pillow, that's fine. But you need to also get your dog a real bed, a supportive mattress like Big Barker. Engineered by experts to support your dog's joints. The fact is that dogs have joints just like us. I got creaky joints. I get older. You know, you sleep on a bad mattress. You stay at some Airbnb. You sleep on a bad mattress. You feel it the next day. Then as you get older, imagine sleeping on that mattress every day. You get older, it'd be a nightmare. You need to get a Big Barker for your dog's health, for your dog's happiness. And because when you get a dog, you rescue a dog, you have one job. Give that dog the best life you can. It's your only job. And you can't do that without getting a Big Barker. You go to BigBarker.com/Ricky. You not only get the Big Barker dog bed to make your dog happy and healthy, you get 2 processed pup patches. Send us some photos. We'll put them in the Process Pup Gallery. It's a 10-year warranty. The foam doesn't flatten or they replace it for free. A 1-year at-home trial. Try it for a full year. If you don't like it, your dog doesn't like it, they'll give you a full refund and they'll pay for the shipping. Big Barker handmade in the USA. Big Barker dog beds.
Woof. Woof.
Okay. This comes from Philip. Hi, Spike and Mike. Rights to Ricky Sanchez at gmail.com. Rights to Ricky Sanchez at gmail.com.
Our old intern.
Huge fan, fan of the pod, living in the basketball desert of St. Louis. Basketball question. A lot of the coverage of Maxey's.
It's a different Philip.
Yes, different Philip. But that Philip was not from St. Louis. But maybe he's living there now. I haven't heard from Philip in forever. A lot of the coverage of Maxey's success as 6-man has foregrounded how this role works because it plays to his strengths. That's not wrong entirely, but I want to propose an alternate theory. Maxey coming off the bench works because it plays to Doc's strengths. Conceptually, it should be possible to imagine a coach that come up with a scheme whereby this team's 3 best players can start together and share the floor productively. For whatever Doc's finer points, he does not seem to be that coach at the moment. Doc is, however, a coach who knows exactly how to maximize the potential of a guard who is a poor defender and an electric scorer if he comes off the bench. Doc knows, in other words, how to coach Lou Williams. Is it possible that Maxey's success as 6-man is as much about Doc fitting him into a Lou Williams-shaped hole in the Sixers' offense as it is about any innate aspect of Maxey's game?
Yeah, I mean, I mostly agree with that.
It's a good point.
I think definitely Doc is the kind of guy that is only his frame of reference has left him many decades ago. Like he's not learning any new memories. Like he's just at a place where everything that's happened to him has already affected his brain in a way he's not like growing. So he's just like, oh, this thing that I've done already, like I can do that.
Yeah.
I just think Maxey is a way better player than Lou Williams ever had the potential to be. And if we're just relegating him to that role, and not to say that Maxey can't be a 6-man this year and then be in the starting lineup next year going forward, whatever. But I want him to keep developing as a player. And I think he can do that off the bench, or he can do that playing primarily not with Harden. But yeah, I think Doc is. He's playing the hits.
Non-basketball question. This is for Spike. As the merch kingpin of the Ricky and all your experience in sports and media, who else is in the same novelty merch tier as the Ricky? Not an official team or organization products, but who else is making the best quality, imaginative hoodies, hats, etc.? Bracketing, of course, Kinetic and B-Ball Paul. Some of my favorites. Philly guy, Heavy Slime, good, great t-shirts. You could look them up on Instagram. Boss Dog, you look that up on Instagram. Meth Syndicate, you can look that up on Instagram too. Those are all really good. And I'm forgetting one. Fuck, what's his name? I'll try to remember. There's one others. Those are merch guys that I like. 833 Lickface. 833 Lickface is the voicemail.
Hey guys, been trying to bite my tongue for a while here on this subject, but Spike, I don't know what's going on with you, man. You've kind of lost the fire in your belly anymore when it comes to Embiid. Multiple times this year, you've referenced how he doesn't really look that good to your eye, even though his numbers are great, which I'm not really sure what that means. I mean, he's having a historic season. I haven't missed a second this year. And he seemed pretty incredible to me. But I think where this kind of really came to a head for me is when that dummy caller last week called and said it's time to move on from him, kind of piggybacking off of Hakeem's dumb points about Joel. You know, I remember a day, Spike, and I've been listening now for almost 7 years, been definitely a Spike guy, takes wise from a basketball standpoint for all those years. And I remember a time where you would just lay into that guy and really tell him that the truth, which is his opinion is really dumb. And he should probably never speak about basketball again. Anyone who's watched basketball for the past 5 to 10 years knows that you can't just go down into the post and score at will. It's literally the easiest part of the court to double on. But you haven't done that and you haven't stuck up for him. So I think it begs a bigger question. Are you no longer an Embiid guy? Kind of what's happened to make you sour on him? And what happened to the old Spike that I knew and loved that would just lay into someone with such a stupid, kind of inexplicable take. So really hoping to get some clarity and hoping that we can get you back on board and we can, move in the right direction, which is that Embiid's amazing and the Sixers can easily go to the championship this year. We got to be more positive. Thanks, guys.
All right.
Lost me at the end.
Yeah.
Got it. I don't like got to be more positive.
Yeah.
Everyone in their own heart of hearts and well of anxiety can decide when it's time to
be positive,
feel good about things. And mine is it is a New York Times needle of when I feel good and when I don't. Right now I feel okay.
It's like I don't have the fire in my belly about. Bro, let me be honest with you. I don't have a fire in my belly about anything anymore. I'm tired. Give me a break. We played the voicemail. We said the guy was wrong. We moved on. Just a couple other things. Joel Embiid is playing great this season. It's not historic. There's like 7, 8, 9 guys in the NBA putting up numbers like this year. Embiid's having a great year for sure.
He would be the first. They said on the broadcast he'd be the first guy to go 30-10 in back-to-back seasons if he gets there. Yeah,
but like Jokic is averaging a triple-double from the center position. Like Luka's averaging like 34, 10, and 8. Like he's having a good year. I love Embiid. I want him to be a Sixer his entire career. He's like my favorite Sixer of all time. I love the guy, but I think I have been fair in saying like time to fucking nut up and push this team to the fucking conference finals and the finals. You're the best player. Time to do it. It's fine to acknowledge when he hasn't succeeded. I think, I don't want to be boring. Lie to you. I'm not going to lie to you. This comes from Nick.
Do you feel like he has done that since you? I know obviously it's not the playoffs, but do you feel like he has answered that call for that you gave, a month or whatever ago to like put egos aside?
I think they have answered the call to work together. It seems like we haven't heard a comment about who the offense should run through and forever. Now, if they lose 4 in a row, like we'll see what happens. But I think he has answered the call to like he's running more pick and roll than he ever has. Ever. He doesn't like doing that. I think both he and Harden have met in the middle on that one. I would say yes, for sure. Rights to Ricky Sanchez at gmail.com. This comes from Nick. Hello, is Mike ... anti-science?
Oh boy.
In the face of all this...
Is this the Q-tips?
In the face of all this information, some coming from doctors, he still insists on using Q-tips.
I just feel like I can do it in a way that doesn't break off in my ear.
I
feel like I can do it in a way that doesn't send me into a coma.
Well, a lot of our listeners have
so far so good.
You'll like this one. 833 Lickface. 833 Lickface.
What's up, Spike? You fucking fraud ass fake Philly fan. Are you fucking kidding, bro? You fucking kidding? There's no shot you're fucking rooting for the Giants in this game, or even in this game. Go Birds, motherfucker! Let's go. We're going to SEC championship. Birds, let's go.
There you go. Somewhere, Amos is looking at his phone, wondering if he made a phone call during the Eagles game to our voicemail. That was as close to Tony T as you would ever get.
Someone asked if I was leading you when I asked who you were rooting for, and I truly wasn't. I was genuinely interested.
Well, somebody said to me, maybe it was an email or whatever. He was like, you know what it is? He was like, you don't have to be super honest about everything. He was like, most people would have just said, go Birds, and just moved it along. But you had to fucking go and say you want them both to win and blah, blah, blah. I'm excited for the Eagles. I don't want to get into this. I just wanted to play you that voicemail.
Keep sending voicemails calling Spike a fraud. I think it's worth your time.
Rights to Ricky Sanchez at gmail.com. Okay, this is a good one. This was a very long email from Seth, and I'm not reading the rest of it because I told him to email Kornblau. But he says, I live outside of Wimberley, Texas, between Austin and San Antonio. Texas sucks, especially, I'm not even going to mention that. I eventually got legal rights to my daughter to see her weekly now. Why am I telling you this? I guess it's because you've both played an embarrassingly important part of my life through these last few years. So I wanted to thank you. And CJ, as COVID shut down the world, I was alone in Texas waiting for my daughter and listening to you guys. At the worst of times, I listened to episodes of the pod more than once. I wish it wasn't so. Don't ever stop. My non-basketball question is, if you could have one current or former Sixer hold you in their arms until you fell asleep, who would you want it to be? And who would you fall asleep the fastest with? Imagine you are baby size.
Okay.
So who would you want holding you in the Sixer?
Boban is first thought. And probably best thought.
Yeah, that's a good call. Fuck, man. That's a really good call.
As far as... Okay, they're trying to let me go to sleep. I'm trying to imagine a scenario where I could back into some logic here. I don't have it. Current Sixer that I would want to rock me to sleep. I need someone with a little bit of heft, but also some softness to it. So I'll say Tobias.
Yeah, of course.
Tobias. Now he knows me. He recognized my face. What did he say when he came on? He said, "I don't see any."
Oh yeah, yeah. He was like looking for haters or something.
Yeah. My face has changed significantly since I was hating on Tobias, and Tobias has changed significantly since I was hating.
I would kind of want Dikembe Mutombo to rock me to sleep.
Sure.
I would feel like I would be tiny in his hands. Even if I was a baby, I would be even tinier in giant Mutombo hands.
Yeah.
And current ones, I want Embiid. Embiid looks like he rocks his baby to sleep all the time. He's an enormous guy.
Good rocking. Good rocking experience. So much, if you don't have rocking experience, you're not going to go very far in the playoffs.
Here's some more people. 833 Lickface.
Hey guys, Brian from Chicago. Am I a first time, long time if I have emailed but never called? But that's not the question. The major question is, I just listened to Spike defend the honesty of his discourse and his lack of trolling, and just felt the need to point out that he hosted a podcast called The Art of the Take that appreciated the ability to craft a take for the perfect reaction. I believe he said a perfect one would be one that split the audience 50-50. So it seems like and don't get me wrong, I don't mind. I love the art of the take, but it seems like we might want to address that. Basketball question. I just feel like not enough people are pointing out that the Sixers have played very mediocre competition during the stretch. I think the only team more than a game or two above 500 was the Pelicans, and Zion got hurt. So, Mike, stay strong and not buy. Thanks, guys. Bye.
It was the Kings also.
That might have been a while ago. Because
No, I mean the voicemail January 25th.
Oh, that is today.
Yeah. Or maybe it came in yesterday or 2 days ago.
But yeah, Kings are well over 500. And we didn't talk about the Kings win, but that was a nice. It's always fun when they can win a non-Embiid, non-Harden game.
For sure.
All of that is good.
And if you were an Art of the Take listener, we never said say anything you don't believe. We actually had a meter. You had to believe something at least 70%. So what I did say is that when you're expressing opinions to start a debate, you don't want opinions that everybody agrees with. That's the idea of finding opinions you have that are 50-50. But I never, ever, ever said we were trolling. Never said we were. To me, trolling means saying something you don't believe to get a reaction. And I would never endorse that.
I don't think that's true.
What?
I think you can take a kernel of something you believe and heighten it and go too far. For example, pulling something out of thin air. Speaking of thin air, you thinking that Denver should not have an NBA city. Like,
but I thought that was obvious to everyone who.
I understand.
Yeah,
but I think that you saying that you don't troll. I think that's
well. I don't do it. If I'm, and maybe this is hard to parse sometimes. If I'm doing that, I like to think that everybody within our group knows what I'm doing. Like when I say Denver should not have pro sports teams, to me that is so overboard. Now, obviously, a lot of the sports fans of Denver did not think I was kidding, but I was definitely not being serious.
I guess what's the point? What's the difference between that and people that are trolling?
Because I think I was not trying to present that as something I actually believed. Like I didn't. It was so ridiculous. I said there was going to be legislation for like. I thought I was kidding. To me, that was me kidding. So I understand what you're saying, but to me, I was not presenting that as something that I actually believed. Now, I think you can make an argument for it, but I don't actually believe that. Finally, this comes from Anthony. Rights Ricky Sanchez at gmail.com. Props to Mike for the whimsical references on the last pod. We had Wonka, Mount Doom, commentary on Lost. By the way, like the individual mentioned, I also jumped ship on Lost on season 2 because I couldn't stand Anna Lucia. But before the final season, she
goes away very quickly.
So before the final season, I binged everything starting where I left off. And as it turns out, she was killed in the very next episode if I had only hung on. Basketball. It is my belief that we were never getting Jason Tatum, that it was within the terms of the agreement.
That's not a belief. That's reported.
Yeah, well, it was my belief there was within the terms of the agreement that if the Celtics trade happened, the Sixers wouldn't take him. The whole point was to essentially jump from third to pick 1.5. Yada yada yada. Is this the belief of the Ricky as well? Yes, yeah. I believe so too. Now they could have, I suppose. Like the trade was done, he could have taken Jason Tatum, or he could have traded the pick. But
still. Yeah. You could have said, we're not going to tell you who we're going to take.
Yes.
And either take this deal or don't take it.
Yes. And see what they did. Actually, final voicemail, because you'll like this one. 833 Lickface, and then we're done.
Hey, Spike and Mike. It's Cam from Syracuse. And that's important because I'm a sicko. I grew up watching college basketball. It's always going to be my first love. And I love a zone defense, right? Sure. So Mike mentioned in that 8-0 win streak, prompted by Coach Mike's demand that they win 9 in a row. He said, half jokingly, that the Sixers should be a team that exclusively plays zone defense. And you know what? I think he's right. I think we should, because what? Our offensive rebounds are going to go down if we play exclusively zone. We're already a terrible offensive rebounding team. We should play exclusively zone. And if we had a coach that did practices, we could practice the zone, because over that 8-game stretch, the zone looked better and better each game. I'm a sicko. I love a zone defense. I think the Sixers, if they fucking practiced a 2-3 zone, if they practiced a 1-3-1 zone, we could throw zone looks at any team and win. Why are we not playing more zone defense? Oh, I know why. Because Doc's a fraud. And he doesn't know how to coach. And he doesn't do practices, so we don't practice the zone. So when we play zone, we look frazzled because we don't know what we're doing out there. If Sam Cassell just did like, okay, this is infrastructure week, but instead of infrastructure, we're fucking working on the zone defense. We could be an elite defensive team. If we played exclusively zone, if we did box and one against Seth Curry, if we fucking play zone defense, what the fuck? What the fuck?
Mike?
Anyways,
Mike?
That's all.
Your thoughts?
I like having a Boeheim stan pop into the audio here.
Yep.
I mean, I think that, look, I like a zone. I think it is interesting to go to it from time to time. I understand it's not aesthetically pleasing basketball to just watch, but they can certainly do it more. I absolutely think anytime Trez is in, it should be a zone. 100%.
Yep.
Anytime that Montrezl Harrell's in this game, they should be playing a zone because there is nothing that he can do in a pick and roll. There's nothing he can do one-on-one. If you at least have different hands and limbs flying in there to help him out, like maybe he stands a chance. There's no reason not to go to zone when Trez is in there. I do think zone helps some of Embiid's strengths, but it also keeps him a little bit. It keeps him from the basket, but he also has to step out of the lane from time to time. It's kind of a weird thing, and I think he wants to. You don't get a feel for as many guys if you're not like manning up. So I would do it every time Trez is out there, and I would sprinkle it in for Embiid.
That's all we got.
But they don't have like the thing that Syracuse zone has is fucking long rangy athletes in the bottom wing position like Jeremy Grant and Rick Jackson and Wes Johnson and all those guys that could just like come like flying in for weak side blocks. And it's really just like Tease and Melton, I guess. But you both of those guys you want at the top of the zone. I do like a zone.
I can't wait to see which playoff team first. I am terrified by
Miami in the 3-6.
But yeah, I was gonna say the first round is gonna be fucking Miami. It's gonna be torture.
Yeah,
it's gonna be torture. You know that, right? Okay.
Arguably, I've been thinking like, all right, settle into one of those 2-3s spots. You avoid the 4-5. Brooklyn and Cleveland can play each other. Blah blah blah. But yeah, they would beat Miami in a playoff series this year, and it'd be nice to have a little bit of revenge from last year. When Embiid missed the first two games and they were 2-2 in the games Embiid was there, even though they were the 1 seed. But it'd be nice to have to get like the Knicks or something and get that too. That would be a more satisfying time. But they've won how many games in a row? They've won 6.
6. Yep.
They've won 6 games in a row. They beat a Brooklyn team that shot 65% from the field tonight. Like, that's pretty good. They shot 35. The Sixers shot 35 at 36 from the foul line. That's cool. Like a weird win, but a good one.
They didn't really shoot 65% from the field, did they? Or did
Brooklyn
they really?
shot 49 of 76 from the field. They shot 64.5%.
What a fucking weird
Yeah.
NBA season this is.
It's been bizarre. It's been bizarre. But the Sixers had more offensive rebounds and they turned the ball over 7 fewer times. So
I'll take it.
Little on the margins here.
Denver next?
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Pretty sure.
That'll be a good game.
Yeah, I think so. Beatably.
Denver on another. Yeah, this is that weird week for whatever reason where they played Saturday and then Wednesday, and then their next game's not until Sunday. So it's just like a ton of time for the Sixers to not be practicing zone. Massive. Sorry, Saturday Nuggets, and then Sunday.
We will talk to you next time. Thanks for listening. Are you down with TTP?
Yeah, like face.